You aren't ready. I mean it, you aren't ready for what's coming, because for years, we've watched Darcy Silva stumble through love. On international soil, crying over champagne and herbs. Chasing emotionally unavailable men, rebuilding herself again and again under the harsh glow of TLC lights. We've been there for every desperate I just want to be loved confession, every botched engagement. Every explosive sister fight that left us breathless. We thought we knew the story. But then came the leak, a bombshell document posted anonymously. A blurry PDF that's been screenshotted, reposted, and dissected like the Zapruder film. And what's in that document? Not receipts from a breakup, not texts, not tabloid gossip. It's a payroll, a literal payroll with names, dollar amounts, signatures, project codes. And right there in the middle of it all, Georgi Rusev, Tom Brooks, Jesse Meester, and a handful of names the public never even knew existed. Darcy's boyfriends were allegedly hired, cast, paid performers in the most emotional reality TV saga we've ever seen. Let that sink in. Because if this document is real and sources close to the production claim it is, it means that Darcy Silva's heartbreaking quest for love wasn't just tragic. It was theater, staged, scripted, monetized, and worse, it was sold to US as real. But here's where it spirals. The document didn't just list compensation. It outlined scene bonuses, payouts for drama, an extra $500 for emotional scenes, $2,000 for a successful proposal arc, a $3,000 bonus if the couple made it to the tell-all. There were notes in the margins, scribbled in a production assistant's handwriting. Push emotional vulnerability. Highlight rejection arc. I felt physically sick reading it, because if this is true, Darcy's endless heartbreak wasn't just unfortunate, it was intentional, engineered. And you're probably thinking, wait, why would she do this? But let me ask you truly, what has Darcy gained from her pain? A fashion line, a spin-off show, cosmetic sponsorships, brand deals, a cult following. Crying has become her brand. And the only thing more bankable than Darcy in love is Darcy getting dumped. It's a pattern. Jesse, Tom, Georgi, even that brief mystery man in Miami. Every relationship follows the same chaotic arc, whirlwind. Romance, love bombing, suspicion, collapse. She sobs, she transforms, she rises, and then she falls again. But what if she was never falling at all? What if she was acting? Let me pause right here, because if you're feeling shook, you're not alone. This isn't just disappointing, it's devastating. We've loved Darcy. We rooted for her, defended her. We watched her get humiliated, mocked, gaslight. And now we are being told those moments weren't raw, unscripted truth. They were scenes, paid, choreographed, and rehearsed. Everything just got flipped, and here's where things get even messier. When the payroll leaked, it didn't come from a jealous ex or bitter crew member. It came from someone claiming to be a former assistant on Darcy and Stacy, who says they couldn't stomach the lies anymore. They posted it to a private Facebook group used by ex-reality TV staffers. It spread like wildfire, while TLC has stayed silent. Insiders say legal departments are scrambling because if this payroll is authenticated, it proves not just reality, TV deception, but potential fraudulent representation of personal relationships on screen. And yes, the fan base is imploding. People are rewatching old scenes and suddenly catching odd things, weird editing cuts, Darcy crying sans tears, awkward body language during proposals. Even Jesse once said in an interview that certain things were encouraged to escalate. For filming, encouraged, or directed. Because here's the theory now gaining ground. Darcy doesn't choose guys she loves. She chooses guys who will play along. She casts them, creates a character around them, then lets the storyline detonate and burn for our amusement. The romance illusion came crashing down after that payroll leak. But it seems we had only scratched the surface. What did surface was not only damning, but freezing as well, namely, a leaked voice memo started trending in fan groups. It was first posted by someone claiming to be a friend of an ex who signed an NDA. The voice on the memo, unmistakable, that husky, emotional breathiness we've heard in so many confessionals. It was Darcy Silva, but not the Darcy we know, not the tears on her cheeks romantic. Not the heartbroken queen praying for a soulmate. This Darcy was icy, composed, calculating. She wasn't begging for love, she was negotiating a performance dot in the memo. She informs the man we believe it was Georgie, though his name is never used, that if he goes through with the final breakup scene as planned, she'll make sure he gets what was promised. The fans need closure. Just do the hotel scene. I'll cry. You just say what we talked about and then we're done. You'll get your last check. There was no hesitation in her voice, no emotion, just business. This wasn't a woman devastated by love lost. This was a woman wrapping up a storyline. And as that memo spread through Reddit threads and YouTube channels and private reality TV discords, people started to ask how many of these men were ever real. How many relationships were negotiated off camera, with contracts and scene planning and emotional manipulation, and then everything from past seasons started to feel tainted. Jesse's slow emotional withdrawal, Tom's coldness during their infamous coffee shop breakup, Georgie's glazed over look every time Darcy cried on cue. Were they truly detached, or just following script direction? But the voice memo was only the beginning, because after it surfaced, another source, a woman who said she was a stylist working on Darcy and Stacey during the shoot in Miami, came forward anonymously on a podcast. Her voice was distorted, but her message was clear. Darcy pre-planned all her emotional breakdown moments with producers. That the champagne-sipping anxiety, the over-the-top arguments, even the fake crying on FaceTime calls, all rehearsed. They do takes, said the stylist. If she didn't cry enough, the producer would say, let's run it again. But with more desperation this time, and she'd just turn it on. Let it sink in, those moments that we thought were raw. Unfiltered pain were direction notes and multiple takes, and it gets worse because, of course, another source gave them internal messages between production staff, showing them how audience reaction metrics were guiding Darcy's scenes. They be tested sobbing and angry monologues and soft-spoken victim breakdowns. And the data said what kind of Darcy gets the most engagement. Any guesses? Sad but glam Darcy. The one that cries but looks fabulous doing it. The one that gets left, never the one that walks away. The martyr so the producers leaned in. They molded her storyline to fit the most sellable archetype, and here's the kicker, Darcy knew. She was in on it. She played that role like a pro actress. You'd have to wonder, where does Stacey fit into all this? Because if Darcy was staging her relationships, surely her twin, who was always conveniently there for the fallouts, always camera ready to play therapist, had to know, right? Oh, she knew. The real tea is that Stacey didn't just play along, she may have been actively sabotaging Darcy's relationships behind the scenes. One former production assistant described Stacey as intensely controlling and weirdly obsessed with Darcy's boyfriends. According to the source, Stacey would give private notes to producers, saying things like Georgie's boring or we need a betrayal scene soon, make him mess up. At one point, she allegedly texted a producer, "She always gets the attention. Time for me to shine this season." And that's when her own storyline with Florian suddenly exploded into chaos, the cheating rumors, the photos, the trust issues. Darcy's heartbreak may have been choreographed, but Stacey's jealousy was very real. And through the middle of all that, Georgie, silent, stoic, still under NDA, he hasn't spoken directly about the voice memo, probably because he legally can't. But he did post a cryptic IG story shortly after it leaked. Just a black screen with the words, "Everyone has a price," no tag, no caption, no context. But we knew, and if that wasn't enough, another layer surfaced, a deleted scene from season 3 of Darcy and Stacey never aired allegedly shows Darcy talking to her producer off camera. It was picked up by a behind-the-scenes mic and later leaked by a crew member. In the clip, she says, "If he messes this up, I'll flip it. I'll cry. The audience is already on my side. I can turn anything. It wasn't even a threat, it was a fact." She knew her power, knew her brand, knew how to wield victimhood like a weapon. It clicked. Darcy Silva doesn't fall in love. She falls into character. So now, the question goes, are we watching a woman chasing love or a woman chasing legacy? Bye. Now, the illusion of romance has been shattered. The voice memo confirmed what the leaked payroll only hinted at. Darcy Silva wasn't just caught in toxic love, she was engineering it. But even as fans were trying to understand how deep the manipulation went, reeling from the betrayal, something even darker bubbled beneath the surface, more personal. Because while Darcy's story has always revolved around failed love, there has always been another character in the shadows, watching it silently all fall apart, her twin, Stacey. From the beginning, we were sold on the fantasy of twinship, soul sisters navigating love, fashion, and family together. In reality, per several insiders, it's messier. Behind the perfectly filtered Instagram posts and matching glam looks, a quiet war was brewing, a power struggle, because in the world of Darcy and Stacey, there is only room for one heartbroken heroine, and Darcy was hogging the spotlight. Let's go back. Season 2, Darcy's storyline with Giorgi was imploding again. Fans were exhausted, some even pleading with TLC to give the guy a break. But Stacey, she was suspiciously always there, offering commentary that felt pointed. Do you really trust him, Dars? It just feels like he's hiding something. At the time, it read like concerned sister energy. But now, with all we've uncovered, fans are going back and rewatching those scenes, picking up on something colder, strategic, competitive, and then came the leak. Not a document this time, a therapy clip, unreleased footage from a joint counseling session that the twins allegedly did during filming, which TLC refused to air. Why? Because it didn't just expose emotional dysfunction, it exposed a fracture in the twin dynamic, which would destroy their brand. In the clip, Darcy accuses Stacey of sabotaging her relationship with Giorgi. She says, and I quote, "You always want me to be the one crying so you look stable. You don't support me. You just wait for me to fall apart so you can swoop in and look wise." Stacey just doesn't deny it. She glares at her sister and says, "Maybe if you picked real men instead of casting them like a movie, you wouldn't have to worry about what I say." The room falls silent. That moment never aired. Buried deep in a vault somewhere at TLC headquarters is the most authentic thing we've ever seen from the Silva sisters, because it reveals the truth. The chaos wasn't just between Darcy and her man, it was between Darcy and Stacey. Two women locked in a cycle of mirrored success and silent sabotage, each one resenting the other's spotlight. And according to one former assistant who worked with the twins on their fashion line, that competition bled into every corner of their lives. Stacey hated being the background twin, they said. When Florian started cheating rumors, it was almost like she was relieved. It gave her a storyline, something juicy, something to compete with Darcy's endless meltdowns. The assistant also said Stacey pitched her own spin-off idea in one meeting with producers. A solo journey, no Darcy, just Stacey and Florian rebuilding their marriage. It didn't get picked up, but it exposed just how fractured their sisterhood had become. And the sabotage wasn't just emotional. People close to the reality stars claim Stacey would often interject in Darcy's relationships behind the scenes. One text leak claims to show her late-night messaging Giorgi, accusing him of using Darcy's brand and threatening that he should back off before things get legal. Another text, a screenshot from an anonymous phone, it's Stacey, allegedly warning Darcy's ex that the fans will turn on you if she cries hard enough. Just walk away before it's too late. Imagine living in a reality where your own sister is plotting your downfall not because she hates you, but because your failure pays. But here's the most discomforting twist in the therapy clip. After Stacy throws her jab, the therapist asks Darcy why she thinks she keeps choosing emotionally unavailable men. There's a pause, Darcy looks down, and then she says, barely audible, because I don't want to be loved, I want to be watched. The room goes quiet again, and the therapist, who reportedly stopped filming after this session, tries to clarify. You want to be seen, and Darcy just nods, seen, cried over, followed. Trending, whatever that is, that's what love feels like now. I don't know about you, but that broke something in me because that isn't just emotional damage. That's a woman who's replaced intimacy with attention, who's rewritten affection as engagement metrics, and who's built an entire persona franchise out of being the woman who never wins at love. And it makes you wonder, were the tears for them even the men? Or were they for us? Let me make one thing clear. This isn't about demonizing Darcy or Stacy. This is about exposing a machine media structure that converts heartbreak into profit and twinhood into gladiatorial arena. And the audience, we're the fuel. We eat it up. We cry with them. We laugh at them. We hashtag every twist. And all the while, the sisters spiral further into the characters we expect them to be. But that's not all. Because as the fallout from the therapy leak went down, fans started to notice something was off in Darcy's posts, little hints, cryptic captions. A photo of a red folder with the words "My Proof." A quote that read, "The NDA protects them, not me. What was she up to?" By the time the therapy session leaked, the cracks in Darcy's fairy tale had become fractures. We were no longer watching the rise and fall of a woman. Unlucky in love, we were witnessing the collapse of a carefully curated emotional empire. But just when fans thought they understood the game Darcy was playing, a new leak dropped. And this time, it didn't come from an ex, it didn't come from a stylist or a backstage whisper. It came from inside the production team, a series of emails, which to reality TV journalists authenticated and were reposted across the fan pages like wildfire, showed communication between a mid-level producer, a segment coordinator, and a legal advisor at TLC. The subject line, S3 proposal arc rewrite, urgent. And the emails were dated just 3 weeks before Georgie's now infamous on-camera proposal. You know, that moment that had fans divided, suspicious, but still glued to their screens. That moment, the rooftop setting, the nervous energy. Darcy's stunned silence followed by tears felt staged even then. But what we now know, it was never supposed to happen, according to the leaked chain. Darcy and Georgie were supposed to break up at the end of season 3, not get engaged. That was how the season was originally written. Producers had planned a Darcy walks away stronger finale, but then something changed. A meeting note embedded in the email said she's pushing hard for the redemption arc. Wants a fairy tale close, will provide ring if he won't. Yes, you read that correctly. Will provide ring if he won't. And a producer responds later in that thread to say, confirming ring prop is procured. Scene will play as real proposal, but legal doc required to clarify it's for filming purposes only. There, in that one sentence, is the correction of everything. Because that real moment, the tearful acceptance, the dramatic kiss, the emotional music swell, it was all constructed around a prop, a storyline. A manufactured finale devised to fool the audience into thinking things were finally looking up for Darcy. And it worked. For a hot second, social media erupted. She finally got her happy ending. We're so proud of her growth. Fans made memes, edits, even celebration posts. But it was all a mirage because behind the scenes, GRG was allegedly livid. A close friend of his, who asked to remain anonymous, spilled that Georgie felt cornered into the proposal, that he hadn't wanted to go through with it, that Darcy and the producers kept saying it's just for the show. And that after filming Wrapped, he tried to take the ring back, only to be told, it wasn't yours to begin with, leave that alone, the ring wasn't even his. The love story wasn't even real, but the emails go deeper, because buried at the end of the thread is a single chilling line from the legal coordinator. Make sure NDA language includes waiver for emotional misrepresentation claims. It's legal speak, but what it means is terrifying. TLC was covering their tracks, making sure that if Giorgi or any future cast boyfriends tried to claim emotional manipulation or reputational damage, they'd already signed away. Their right to fight back. It wasn't just Darcy playing the game, the network was in on it. And here's what keeps me up at night: how many of these proposals we've seen over the years. On 90 Day Fiancé, before the 90 days, Darcy and Stacey were scripted to manufacture engagement, not celebrate love. How many of the tears were real? How many were planned in email chains like this one? But the scandal doesn't stop there, because since the leak, Darcy unraveled in plain sight. Her social media presence, once tightly curated, filtered, and glamorous, started to shift. Cryptic captions, emotional quotes, then a since deleted Instagram story where she filmed a single red envelope on her bed. She zooms in slow, dramatically adding the text, "They think I don't keep receipts." Fans were shook. Was she threatening TLC? Was she preparing her own counter leak? Blowing the whole thing wide open was when a fan caught Darcy in a Florida restaurant meeting with a known streaming executive from a rival platform. The photos went viral. Some say she's shopping a tell-all. Others think she's pitching her own unscripted series, one where she takes full control, without network censorship. But here's the wildest theory, and the one that's gaining serious traction. Darcy might be planning to flip the narrative. Again, not as the heartbroken woman, but as the woman who outsmarted reality TV itself. She could frame the leaks not as deception, but as survival. I did what I had to do to succeed in a man's game. She might say, I gave them what they wanted and I made myself a brand. Think about it. In a genre dominated by messy divorces, toxic in-laws, and screaming matches, Darcy has become iconic. She's lasted longer than most couples, outlived most storylines, been memed, parodied, worshipped, and dragged, and through it all, she's remained relevant. What if that was the point all along? But one thing stands in her way: a massive breach of contract lawsuit TLC is allegedly preparing. Lopez and others say the network is furious about the leaks, that they've identified internal whistleblowers, and that if Darcy really does have more receipts, emails, contracts, recordings, she might be the one on the chopping block next. So where does that leave us? In the middle of a reality TV Cold War, Darcy versus the network, cast members versus NDA letters, truth versus story, and in all this chaos, one thing remains terrifyingly clear: that moment, the proposal, the tears, the kiss. The one that made us believe maybe, just maybe, Darcy had found love. It was fiction. If you thought a fake proposal was the most Darcy Silva could fake on national television, buckle up, because the leaked producer emails were just the fuse. The real explosion came when surveillance footage surfaced, grainy, low resolution, but unmistakable, showing Darcy entering a luxury condo in downtown Miami with a man who wasn't Giorgi. The video hit the internet like a hurricane. Reddit threads lit up, gossip pages flooded timelines, and fans began asking the only question that mattered, and he was, at first, nobody knew who he was. But internet sleuths are dogged. Within hours, fans tracked the man's identity to a Miami-based model, let's call him Mark, who'd once auditioned for a short-lived reality dating show. His Instagram was immediately flooded with comments like, "You're the next Giorgi, huh?" And "Hope the contract pays well." He went private, deleted photos, then disappeared from social media altogether. But here's the real kicker: screenshots from an anonymous fan showed Mark replying to a DM before he vanished, saying, "Let's just say we're in talks." She knows how to create magic, talks, not dating, not seeing each other, talks. The language of negotiation, business, scripts. A relationship already being built like a storyline. And if that sounds like speculation, buckle up because within days, leaked screenshots of a contract draft started making the rounds in a private Discord channel. Used by people adjacent to reality TV production, the contract was partially redacted, but clearly dated and referred to a romantic lead position for an unscripted docuseries centered around a female reality TV personality. The name Silva appears 3 times, the payment schedule nearly identical to the infamous payroll leak. From earlier, emotional beats tied to specific payouts, first date scene, $750. Confrontation scene, $1,500. Reunion filming bonus, $2,000. The guy in Miami wasn't a rebound. He was just the next plot point. But everything shifts with this moment here. We see Darcy acting like a producer, setting up her next season before the last one has even aired. It means that her relationships don't just fall apart, they're engineered to fail, because failure is just another word for reinvention. And reinvention is Darcy's ultimate brand. And here's where it gets icy cold. Round this time, Darcy posted a selfie on Instagram. Classic Darcy glam, pouty, filtered to the gods. But that caption sent fans into a tizzy. It read, "Can't wait to show the world what real love looks like, real love," with a ring emoji, and the kicker, she tagged no one. Fans took it as a dig at GRG. Others thought she was teasing a secret engagement, but in retrospect, it looks like something far more disturbing, a marketing rollout. An emotional teaser for a man already signed to appear in her next relationship arc. She wasn't in love, she was in pre-production. And if you're thinking, maybe this is just Darcy trying to move on, well, think again. Insiders say this new relationship was supposed to be unveiled during the season for Tell All, but was pulled last minute. When the GRG leak spiraled out of control, TLC panicked. Darcy's storyline was falling apart in real time, and they couldn't risk exposing how manufactured her new romance really was. But this isn't about another fake boyfriend. It's about pattern recognition, because once the fans knew the truth, they started reevaluating every Darcy breakup with fresh eyes, and you know what they found? Every time Darcy fell in love, she launched a new business venture. With Jesse, it was the House of 11 rebrand. With Tom, it was her first line of jewelry. With GRG, she launched her spinoff, and with this mystery man, she started teasing a relationship coaching platform offering advice on self-love and healing. The woman selling heartbreak was profiting from recovery, all while scripting the pain behind the scenes. And just when it couldn't get messier, GRG posted again, a mirror selfie. No caption, but in the background, fans spotted something blurred, a laptop screen with a document open. Zoom in, enhance, screenshot, and you could make out just 3 words in the header, production meeting notes. It was up for 1 hour, then deleted. No explanation, but it was enough. Fans believe GRG was threatening to leak everything. He's still under NDA, but the pressure is building. He's been dragged, he's been humiliated. And now, with the audience finally realizing the truth, he may be ready to turn the tables. And Darcy? She's spiraling again, more and more of these cryptic stories. One showed a journal with the words "People always betray me" scrawled in marker. Another was just her crying in the dark, whispering they don't know what I've survived. And look, maybe she has survived a lot. Maybe the fame machine chewed her up. Maybe she just wanted love and got lost in the performance. But let's get real here. Darcy Silva isn't just surviving fame. She's engineering it, engineering chaos, casting heartbreak. Like some sort of director with a call sheet. Turning trauma into capital and then selling that capital to fans as authenticity. Well, someone very close to Darcy just broke their silence, an ex-friend. a woman who claims to have been with her during the early Jessie days, and she's released a voicemail that blows the lid off Darcy's entire persona. In it, Darcy admits what we've all suspected: love is whatever you make it look like. Then there are those moments in every scandal that shift the story from suspicion to confirmation. From maybe to oh my god, it's real. And this is that moment, because just when it seemed like the Darcy Silva saga had spilled every secret, just when fans had wrapped their minds around fake proposals, stage breakdowns, and casted boyfriends, a new voice emerged. Not Georgie, not Jesse, not Tom, but someone closer, someone who had been there since the beginning. Before the spin-offs, before the glam squads, before the NDA letters. A woman who once called Darcy a best friend, a woman who, after years of silence, decided it was time the truth come out. And how did she do it? With a voicemail, a raw, quiet, emotionally drained voicemail Darcy had left for her years ago, during the early Jessie days when the fame was still fresh and the camera crews were just starting to circle. The friend, who we'll call Alyssa, released a voicemail to a reality TV podcast under the condition of anonymity. And let me tell you, it's haunting. It starts with Darcy's signature voice, soft, almost childlike, breathy. But what she says, it lands like a grenade. I know it's not real. I just need it to look real. That's what they care about, how it looks. Love is whatever you make it look like. That line alone recasts every season, every cry, every shattered wine glass. She doesn't want love, she wants the illusion of it. She knows precisely what sells, and she has been selling it to us for years. But she doesn't stop there. Jesse's cute, but he's not the one. He's good TV, though. He gives face. He fights back. That's what they want, right? Conflict, fire, tears. So I'll give them that. And maybe if I cry enough, they'll believe it's real. Let me repeat that. If I cry enough, they'll believe it's real. This is not an accident of manipulation. This is strategy. This is a woman who learned how to weaponize her pain, who saw vulnerability as performance, and who built her career on the tightrope between truth and fiction. Alyssa claims to have saved the voicemail for years, said it haunted her, that she never felt comfortable sharing it until now. That watching Darcy spiral deeper into the fame machine, dragging new men into the cycle, exploiting her own trauma for attention, she finally snapped. She was my friend, Alyssa said, but she stopped being real a long time ago, and fans, they're divided. Some are devastated. They feel lied to, betrayed, manipulated. They believed in Darcy. They cried with her. They defended her when she was at her lowest. To hear that she never believed it herself, that it was all show, that cuts deep. Others, they hailing her as a genius, a mastermind, a woman who cracked the system and played it better than anyone else. She's not broken, one fan wrote. She's a producer. She's been the smartest person in the room this whole time. Perhaps both are true. Because if you look at her track record, Darcy Silva has survived longer than almost any woman in the 9-0 day Fiancé universe. She's transcended the main show. She built her own spin-off. She launched a fashion brand, a beauty line, even teased a book deal. Her story has always been one of transformation, new nose, new man, new tears, new rebirth. Rinse, repeat. She never had to win in love. She just had to lose dramatically enough to stay famous. And now, with everything exposed, she's already flipping the narrative. Her latest Instagram post, a black and white photo of her walking away from a studio, captioned, "It's not about what they think. It's about what I built." No mention of Georgie, no mention of the leaks, just power. Because Darcy knows something most reality stars never learn. Fame doesn't reward truth. It rewards consistency. And she consistently gives us heartbreak, meltdown, chaos, and now exposure. It's the full cycle. She's not trying to hide anymore. She's rebranding. There are rumors now, whispers of a new show. Not on TLC, on a streaming platform, one with fewer rules, one that would let her tell her side. The tagline, allegedly, love, lies, and Darcy. And if that's true, if she really is pivoting into the villain hero hybrid, the woman who confesses everything as a power move, then we're about to witness something we've never seen before, a victory lap from a reality star over her own downfall. But the real tragedy is this: underneath the lashes, the edits, the scripting. There was once a woman who wanted, desperately, to be loved, who actually cried over the rejection, who actually did feel small, used, dismissed. That woman, she's gone now. Replaced by the version who wins by losing, who cries on cue, who monetizes her scars before they've even healed. And perhaps, in the end, that's the most hurtful thing. Because we didn't just watch Darcy fall in love, we watched her disappear piece by piece behind the character she built to survive, and now she's all that's left behind.